Hey everybody, welcome to the Pet Food Puzzle Guy. And I realize there's always so many new people coming in, and I really appreciate the comments from new folks. It's very encouraging, and those of you that have challenging questions, I really appreciate that too. And of course, my best goes out to my nutrition mission folks out there. I love you guys. I wanted to with this video, I need to remind everybody a little bit, especially if you're new. I am not a veterinarian. I spent 34 years as a Hills veterinary rep. So in other words, my role was to educate veterinarians on their teams on the various therapeutic diets that Hills produced. I spent many years being trained by board certified nutritionists at Hills that had a lot of airline time going out to Topeka, Kansas to the research facility. Got to know the nutritionists personally and their passion and their commitment to what they did. And that's why I definitely have a bias towards science and research and board certified nutritionists, the real thing, versus all these so-called nutritionists and certified dog nutritionists and all. I was trained by the very best, even including Dr. Mark Morris Jr. And he is the son of the really famous Mark Morris Sr., and you have to be in the food and science world to know who those guys are. But so anyway, for 34 years, I spent every day in veterinary clinics back east and then out west. I got to not only train doctors on these diets, but I got to see the results of these diets. And that was probably the most exciting thing. I used to tell my doctors, you know, when I look at the research and all, and I come and I share this with you, that's all well and good. But when you give reports back to me that this stuff actually worked, that's the really exciting part. And that happened all the time. So that's why I am very, if you want to use the word biased, I definitely am biased toward companies that do quality research and most importantly, produce incredible results. So with this video, I want to just real quick, I wrote this down. This is one of the wonderful comments that I got from somebody, but this is the motivation of why I do this channel. And this is from Grumpy Gen X Gramps, and I hope he responds with some more comments. But this is what he says. Every expert has their own opinion and their own evidence of dogs as omnivores or dogs as carnivores. There's experts that claim that a raw diet is best. There's experts that claim kibbles is best. There's experts that claim canned is best. They all have convincing evidence, and all of it leaves us dog owners wanting to do the best for our dog, totally confused more than ever. And that is my motivation. I read this all the time in the comments. I'm on some Facebook groups of people that are awesome moderators, and their answers are awesome. And I just like and heart them all the time because I don't have to say anything. They cover it great. But there's so many pet owners out there, pet parents, whatever you want to call yourselves, that are really confused and frustrated by what they find out there on social media. As a matter of fact, there was just a lady that left a message, I believe it was a lady, and she said she was curious about how urinary diets, prescription diet, and when she says prescription diet, whether she meant therapeutic or specifically Hill's prescription diet, but either way, the point was, she said, I wanted to learn how those therapeutic diets control the urine pH and how they help reduce the risk of crystals. And she went onto social media, onto YouTube, and all she found was people that weren't veterinarians saying how bad those diets were. That's the motivation why I do this channel, because that is just criminal. That is just horrible. It hurts animals. It hurts the people that love their animals, and that is why I'm here. So that's my motivation. And what Grumpy Gen X Gramps said here, all these experts, how do I know as a pet parent who doesn't want to spend hours researching this, how do I know who to believe? Because that's really what it comes down to. Who do I believe? So let's break it down. What's a nutritionist, and what's the people that promote all this BS and all this other stuff? How can I identify real quick whether I'm talking to somebody or listening to somebody that actually knows something about nutrition? That's what this video is all about. So I hope you'll stick with me, and I hope it's beneficial. So let me tell you this, if you're going to go on social media, on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, and you're looking for opinions on pet food, there's two types of people that you're going to run into. One are the nutritionists. Those are the people that are interested in nutrition and are going to talk to you in a certain way. There's others, and this is the vast majority of people out there. They're what I call ingredient-ists. Now, ingredient-ists, it's a new word. I'm pretty sure I made it up. I guess I could check to see if it's a word in the dictionary. But an ingredient-ist is somebody that studies and focuses on ingredients. A nutritionist is somebody that what? Focuses on nutrition. So what's the difference? And this is really, let me start this way. If somebody starts out describing a diet to you, okay, a brand, Eukanuba, Science Diet, Origin, whatever, and they focus on the ingredients and they stay on the ingredients. And that is basically all they talk about is the ingredients. They're not a nutritionist. They're not talking nutrition. They're talking ingredients. That's why I'm calling them ingredient-ists. Okay, there's a big difference. If they get on there and they start talking about nutrition and the needs of the animal, and they talk about nutrients, protein. Now, protein is different than talking meat. Meat is what? An ingredient. Protein is a nutrient. Okay, there's a difference. Calcium and phosphorus, all those minerals, microminerals, those are nutrients. Corn is an ingredient. Animal fat is an ingredient. Okay. Fatty acids are a nutrient. Okay, so you see the difference between nutrients and ingredients. Let me just read you. I looked up I just Googled it real quick. And I said, what's the definition of nutrition? I know my definition, but I wanted to see what it said. It said the branch of science that deals with nutrients and nutrition. Now, I don't know how the definition could include the word nutrition, but it's the branch of science, I like that deals with what? Nutrients, not ingredients. Ingredients are not mentioned in the definition of nutrients. And even if you think about the word nutrition, what's the root word of nutrition? Nutrients. So to me, a very simple definition of nutrition is the delivery of nutrients. And if I'm looking for the health of the animal, and as a matter of fact, the other definition is the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So again, it's how do I supply nutrients or obtain nutrients that are going to provide health and growth? Well, that would be what? Optimal nutrient levels. So when you're talking to somebody who's a nutritionist, they are going to talk about nutrient levels. They're going to talk about optimal levels. They're going to talk about maybe ranges of protein, things like that, okay? They're going to talk about life stages. They're going to, all that kind of stuff. That's nutrition, okay? Very different than ingredient. I looked up the word ingredient. Any of the foods or substances that can be combined to make a particular dish. And that's a great explanation. We all agree. The ingredients that go into a dish or into a food, a complete and balanced pet food in this case, those ingredients matter, but they're individual ingredients. It's looking at each ingredient versus looking at the finished product, which is what nutrition is. And the last was a component, part, or element of something. So again, it's the parts of something. The problem with looking at ingredients, it just leaves you looking at that particular ingredient. And if you just measure, this is why the Dog Food Advisor and some of these other rating systems are really terrible. They're really just, you shouldn't even look at them, because all they're doing is looking at individual ingredients and saying this is a good one, this is a bad one. Well, a nutritionist knows, wait a minute, instead of using that ingredient, we're going to use this one because what we're trying to achieve over here, this ingredient would be better. Well, it's not as bioavailable. Well, true, the other one is, but this one actually works better in combination with the other ingredients we're using to achieve what we're trying to achieve. So we may be using alternate protein sources to reduce the mineral content of a food, or we may be using other ingredients to get higher omega-3s versus omega-6s, or I mean, I can go on, but that's the difference between a nutritionist and an ingredient-ist. An ingredient-ist will be the people that tell you, oh, that food's terrible, look at the ingredient panel. The minute they say that, you need to and this is my opinion, but I believe this with every fiber of my being, you need to stop and not listen to those people. The minute they say that, the first 5 ingredients, the first is meat. They use corn, anything like that. If they want to mention ingredient and then they go on to other more important things, fine. But if they just stick with ingredients, they either are a victim of listening to an ingredientist or they are one. And the most frustrating thing is this whole ingredient game that people are so devout to. I get the comments from people. I just got one today. Oh, but you're saying that meat meal can be high quality, or that meat meal is high quality. It can be very high quality. It could be very low quality. Just like fresh meat could be very high quality or very low quality. Clearly, that person has been listening to ingredientists that have them thinking fresh meat is good, meal is bad, corn is bad, soy is bad. I'm trying to think of some of the good. I mean, meat is always the good one. For those of you that are going to listen to me, please hear me. The minute they start showing themselves as ingredientists, you need to stop listening to them, because what they are doing, they don't realize it, but they're just willing fools of the pet food marketers. They're so against big kibble and the big companies, Hills, Royal Canin, Purina, the big, they're out for money and they're harming animals. They don't care. It's all profit. And yet, what do? They're the ones leading the charge that, oh, you need meat as the first ingredient and it should be 80% meat and your dog's a carnivore, all this other stuff. Look at the first 5 ingredients. You know why pet food manufacturers tell you to look at the first 5 ingredients? Do you know why? Do you know why? Because they can manipulate those first 5 ingredients so well. They're experts at it. And manipulate you into buying their food because you're listening to them. You're ignoring the nutritionists over here. And when I say nutritionists, I'm not talking about these silly certified dog nutritionists, these people that claim. I just saw another guy today, $250 for a consultation. He's now a certified nutritionist. I could have Glenn's certification of wonderful old school canine nutrition. I can make up a course. I can make you guys pay me $100 a course. And when you're done, guess what? I certify you as a certified nutritionist. That's how pathetic it really is. So again, if they have board certified nutritionists, listen to them. There's less than 100 of them in the country. Okay. But if they just say, I'm a certified blah, 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 and they're all over YouTube and they don't know a damn thing. I've probably forgotten more in the last 2 years I've been retired than they ever learned. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. They may get into your dog is a wolf. Your dog is designed to eat meat. Your dog is a carnivore. All this other stuff. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to find a board certified nutritionist over here saying that. It's just going to come from these ingredientists. That's what a nutritionist will do. They'll get to the nutrients. They'll get to the reasons why this diet is healthy or why it's unhealthy. Ingredientists, all they're going to do is rate ingredients, and you've seen them. You've been there. If you've been going to these channels and you just stumbled on mine, you've been to these other channels, and they're judging food by what? By the ingredient panel. And the ingredient panel, real quick, just so you understand, this is the industry that you're trusting looking at that ingredient panel. The ingredient panel is not there to tell you what's in the food. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? No, it is a tool, not a tool to inform you on the quality of the food. Trust me, that's impossible. It's there to manipulate you to buy their food. It's a marketing game, okay? Let me explain. There's 2 things you need to understand about the ingredient panel. One is it goes by weight, not by volume, okay? So in other words, well, what does that mean? Well, the first ingredient's chicken. Almost everybody does that now, right? I can't believe they still keep promoting it. It's like saying my car has 4 wheels. You should buy mine, okay? First ingredient's meat. You know why? Because fresh meat's 70-80% water. The ingredient panel goes by weight. So the heaviest ingredient with all that water shoots right to the front of the ingredient panel, okay? When you see chicken meal, let's say it's chicken, okay, fresh chicken is mostly water. If you see chicken meal, that means all the water has been taken out. It's actually been dried into basically a powder. So if you see chicken meal as the first ingredient, that's a lot of protein. But when you see chicken as a first ingredient, it's mostly water. It is the biggest scam by the pet food industry, and everybody does it. Everybody, okay, from the healthy, high quality foods to the lowest grade garbage foods out there, they're all playing the game. It's so easy. Just take a little bit of meat, could be the worst meat in the world, put it in the food, and guess what? It's going to go to the front of the ingredient panel. The other is because weight is how it's done. You take an ingredient like rice or corn or something, and you split it into different names, okay? Ground rice, rice middlings, rice, all these different names for the same basic product. And what do? Instead of having 4 pounds of rice, you have 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound. It goes further down the ingredient panel, and your more attractive ingredients come to the front. Actually, it started in 1987. ProPlan started it, and it has become so prevalent now that you can't compete in the industry unless you have meat as a first ingredient. You as a consumer thinking you're getting all this meat for that high price. You're not. You're getting mostly water as that first ingredient. That's why usually you'll see it'll say chicken, and the next ingredient after that is what? Chicken meal. Why do I need chicken meal if it's mainly chicken? Well, because it's not mainly chicken, it's mainly water weight. The chicken meal is actually the protein source. So the ingredient panel goes by weight, easily manipulated. That's why they keep telling you, look at the first 5, look at the first 5, because we can really manipulate and convince you that you're getting something you're not. Second is, besides the weight is very, just drives me nuts. You look at chicken meal or you look at fresh chicken. You have no idea the quality of that meat source. Okay, I don't care what form it's in. Chicken byproducts or chicken byproducts meal would be what? Again, the dried form of those byproducts. Byproducts, that could be organ meat from human grade chickens or beef. But it would get labeled as byproducts. Now the industry is getting so deceptive and so lackadaisical that you really, again, as the consumer, you're looking at that ingredient panel. I wonder if those byproducts are high quality, or are they 4D meat or just junk that's just not fit for consumption by anybody, and it goes into the food. You have no way of knowing. And the food company can tell you, we use nothing but the best, blah, blah, blah. How do you know? Who's checking up on them to see what's going in the food? The easiest way, and if you watch my channel, you know my answer to this, show me the nutrients. When somebody tells me, oh, you work for Hills, they use garbage ingredients, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, their meat is 4D meat, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if that were true, I know it's not, but if it were true, or if I want to use Blue Buffalo or ProPlan, use another brand instead of Hills, since I'm, of course, near dear to my heart, Hills, let's use another brand. Purina One, okay? Nothing but garbage ingredients. If I look at the mineral content of that food and it is low compared to others, okay? There's ranges, and if you watch my channel, you've seen these ranges. If the mineral count is low, that means that food company is using meat sources that are very pure. Because if they were just buying cheap meat and I couldn't tell from the ingredient panel, guess what? I would find calcium and phosphorus levels quite high, 2 to 3, 4 times higher than the normal range. Very unhealthy for your dog, very unhealthy for your cat, can lead to urinary stones, hypertension, kidney disease, all kinds of things, okay? But never mind the health aspects. It reveals the quality of those ingredients. So I know right away, hey, that food company is spending good money. And I've done videos, you guys that have watched them, on different brands. And we've been really surprised when we actually looked at nutrient levels and saw, wow, here's a food that's actually kind of inexpensive. Their mineral content was great. The whole point of this is, you're always going to be confused if you're just going to listen to the ingredient-ists. You have to understand they're lost. They're lost sheep. I guess they want to be lost because whenever you try to talk to them, they don't get it. They're not going to look at nutrition. They're going to keep looking at individual ingredients and having this competition between ingredients instead of looking at the finished product and having a competition between finished products to see which one is actually delivering optimal nutrient levels. That should be the discussion. You're not going to find that on social media, and I see it. I see it with the frustration of everybody that's writing me and the ones that are writing the Facebook groups saying, please help, I don't understand, who am I supposed to believe? Real quick, again, in summary, Just listen to them. And if they get into ingredients and they never get off ingredients, that's an ingredient-ist that you do not need to waste your time. Do not go through the heartache and confusion by listening to those people when they don't know anything. They just listen to the last ingredient-ist who is probably selling them some all-natural remedy or some other silly BS stuff. And sorry if I sound rude or if I'm trying to be offensive towards these people. I'm not. They're lost, but you don't need to be. And the worst is when we follow people that are lost. That's, like the lemmings. Just watch the lemmings going off the cliff. That's what pet parents are doing because they're getting on social media and there's not enough good people out there talking good stuff. Don't buy into the marketing. Don't buy into the emotional manipulation that's going on these days with pet food and pet parents. Just get back to the science. It's simpler, it's safer. Your pet will benefit from it. You will, because you'll have some peace of mind. But the fear mongering is just getting awful out there. And again, it motivates me to make these videos. But this was kind of a rant one here. But I'm going to talk about ingredients a lot in the future because I realize that's the difference. I'll debate nutrition any day with a nutritionist or somebody that wants to talk nutrition. But if they can't get their heads out of just looking at ingredients, that's just silly. We're just wasting our time. All right, so I hope that's been beneficial. I hope this video encourages you, if you are new, to check out some of the lots of different. I got over 100 videos. I can't believe that. That's crazy. A little over a year, but on all types of topics. Just scroll through. There'll be something that'll be beneficial to you, and I appreciate you being here. You're among some great people. I mean, sometimes I'll make comments or throw out a question, and it's you great people out there that do the research and come back with the answers. I just had Rika just came back with, I wasn't sure if Royal Canin had early renal diets. I knew Hills and Purina did, and sure enough, she had the whole list. I mean, some of you just, you're like my researchers, and that is fine. I appreciate it. I am not here with all the answers, that's for sure. But I hope it through all this, the time we spend together, it just encourages you to take better care of your dog or your cat, and I'll always remind you, love on them. I'm going to finish up here and go upstairs, and I'll be on the couch with both my girls, and just love every day you have with them and appreciate it because they are special. And that's the reason we do all this crazy stuff, right? Have a good night. Take care.